In this video, I'm going to show you some very important things if you seriously think about starting your own restaurant business. The topic of this video is the 10 things you need to know before you start a restaurant. I'm going to show you some helpful tips, I'm pretty sure that they are, that can make the difference between success and failure, and I'm giving you some insights into the customer-centric financial model for restaurants, which I developed. You see this financial model here on the right-hand side. It's an Excel-based model, and I built it. Maybe a few words to myself. First, as you are pretty sure here, I'm not a US native speaking guy. English is a foreign language for me, so I'm fighting and struggling a little bit with it, but I'm trying my best, and I think it should be enough for this video. I'm from Austria, not Australia, no, not from down under, but from Austria. That's the little country in the middle of Europe, and we don't have kangaroos, but we have a lot of mountains. So I'm this mountain guy with bad English and talking about restaurant business. And well, why do I talk about the restaurant business? That's because I grew up within this business. I attended a hotel management school, and yes, and I also helped a very good friend of mine to start up his own restaurant and coffee shop business many years ago. I think it's about 20 years ago. And well, yes, we had luck, and we also put in a lot of hard work, and we managed to bring up this restaurant and coffee shop business to a successful one. And over the years, I collected some experiences, and now it's my job, and what I love to do is to help other people to start up their own restaurants and to pass on my experiences. And I'm doing this with books and tools. And my little publishing company is Restaurant Compass. And yes, well, the two books that I started publishing in German, as I'm from Austria, and now they are also available in English, as they sell pretty well. And the first one is Profit, the Restaurant Owner's Handbook. This book is mainly for restaurant owners that want to optimize their business for more sales and more profit. And the second book I wrote is Business Plan to Start a Restaurant. It came out shortly. It's now also available on Amazon.com. And as the title says, it's about starting a restaurant. What should it be else? Okay, so let's start with it. By the way, my website is restaurantcompass.com, written with a K, not a C, restaurantcompass.com. There you find some, here it is, by the way. You find tools and books, and also some free tools, for example, price calculation and a very simple free budget where you can build your first budget within 5 minutes, and so on. And also articles about the topic starting and running a restaurant. Okay, so I would suggest that we get right into it. Point number one of the 10 things you need to know if you want to start a restaurant is get a location with passers-by. This really is a very central thing. Passers-by are key for stable and plannable sales and provide sales from day one. Just think about it. If you start a new restaurant and you start at a location with no or very weak frequency of passing by people, well, you don't have customers in front of the door, and will you make sales? It will become very, very difficult, because how do you get customers without passers-by? You will have to do a lot of marketing and advertising. Marketing and advertising, of course, is important, and you will have to do it anyway. But if you don't have passers-by, you only rely on your marketing, and this is a very, very difficult task. By the way, in my tool, customer-centric financial model for restaurants, there are input sheets. There are exactly 8 input sheets. These are the yellow ones. The yellow ones are always for your assumptions where you can put it in, and there are also green ones, which are the output sheets. And as I said about passers-by, You can define your passers-by. We can start here with the business assumption, where you can put in the amount of passing by people per day in front of a location. This financial model is already populated with some example data. And in this example, we do have 10,000 passers-by per day, which is a pretty strong frequency. And yes, it's a wishful situation. The advantage of this model is that you can put in the passers-by and you can change the numbers and try them and see the result. And the whole system calculates the amount of customers you get and the sales you can make. And I can show you here. You see the amount of, based on your assumptions on conversion rates and so on, you see the amount of customers from passers-by you get, customers from email and so on. Then further also the sales you can make on-premises, takeaway and so on. We get into it a little bit later. Okay, let's come back. Get a location with passers-by. This really is key. If you do have a lot of passers-by, you do have the great advantage that you can plan pretty well your sales, and your sales will probably be quite stable, which is a huge advantage. And you can start making sales and profit from day one. So right from the beginning, you open your doors and your customers will come in. And on the other side, if you have a weak location with weak passers-by, then it will be much more difficult to make sales. Converting a passerby into a customer is easier and mostly also cheaper than acquiring a customer through marketing or advertising campaigns. Yes, just think about it. It is much easier if a person walks by, is hungry, and sees your restaurant, that he will come in and become your customer. And it is much more difficult to reach out to somebody through email, through ads or social media or whatever, and they are more far away and maybe they don't already know your business, and to make them coming to your restaurant, entering it and becoming your customer. So passers-by are super important. For example, here you see it in the summary. You can see the marketing return on investment. And in this example, you see that the passers-by do provide an ROI within the year one of 1,816%. Second is email marketing with 841%. So passers-by are super important. Every further customer needs enormous marketing efforts, which costs time and money. In my financial model, you can put in various assumptions for marketing. You can put in email, social media marketing, online search ads, flyer, direct marketing, and so on. And by doing this, you can find out which marketing method is the most profitable one, which you should pursue from day one. You know in advance how many customers you can get when you buy a high frequency location. Estimating the result of your marketing activities is much more difficult. So, of course, a high frequency location will cost you more money, but as you can have a look and check out this high frequency location, you can also get exact numbers about the passing by people, and you can get a pretty well estimation of how many customers you can get per day. You can put in your assumptions here in the conversion sheet about the conversion rate. And for example, we know that on average, the conversion rate of passing by becoming a customer is for restaurants 0.8%. You can put in your assumption here, and then the system calculates the passers-by into customers and customers into sales and so on. So getting a location with passers-by is super important, and I would recommend it to invest the money into a very good location. rather more than investing the same amount of money into marketing a bad location, a weak location with bad passersby. So, by the way, if you like this kind of video, I would kindly ask you to support me and my new little channel, and to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. So, thank you so much that you're still with me, and we are moving on to point number 2. You should know if you start a restaurant. Offer what your customers want. This sounds super simple, and I think many entrepreneurs miss this point. The impact of the simple truth is massive. Selling people something they don't want is much more difficult than selling them something they already want. Just think about it. If you're a fan of, let's say, burger, and if you love burgers and burgers in all variations, cheeseburgers and chicken burgers and whatever, and you're not such a big fan of, let's say, pasta, and there is somebody in front of you and wants to sell you pasta. Take my pasta, take my pasta. But if you are a fan of burger, you say, maybe I would rather prefer a burger if I could get one. So, and if there comes someone in front of you and says, hey, I have great burgers, do you want to come in and try them out? And you say, yes, I love burgers. So it will be much easier to sell him a burger to someone who loves burgers than to someone who does not love them. So this is, I think, a very a big secret of success, to sell people what they already want. Excuse me. So find out what the passers-by and the people around the location really want, and then give them what they want. Find out what they want. If they like to have takeaway of sandwiches or whatever, then ask them. Ask the people what they want. Ask the passers-by if you're interested about a certain location. Go get there. Talk with the people in front of the door and find out what they really want, and then plan a concept and plan a menu that they actually want. And it will be much easier for you to start a successful restaurant. Yes, just a little insight into my book, Business Plan, as I already mentioned. It's now available on Amazon.com. Business Plan to Start a Restaurant. This book shows you how you can set up a restaurant business plan step by step, and it focuses on 5 points. Point number 1 is the guests. Who are they? What do they want? Then chapter 2, point number 2 is the concept. So what are you going to offer them? 3, the location. One important part of it, as we already talked about, is the traffic situation, how many passers-by. Point number 4, the budget. We call it in our video the financial model. It's quite the same, building a budget, building a financial model. And number 5 are systems. Systems are super important if you really want to become, if you really want to get an efficient operation. You must prepare systems for quite any kind of routine job you're going to do in your restaurant business. If we talk about upselling or building up regular guests or attracting new guests, cost control, the roster, training, clothing, waste management, whatever, all these things you can find in my book, which can help you to prepare your detailed business plan. Okay, let's come back to our topic. Point number 3, start with a small menu. This is also super simple, but it has a huge effect. Because a big menu with a ton of different meals can bring you in serious trouble, especially when you start out. Many different menu items lead to a huge storage, to more waste and shrinkage. The more you store, the more you will lose. It's really very simple. It's a truth that when you have a storage, whether it's a restaurant or any other trading business, you will lose some portion of your storage because of shrinkage, because of theft. These are the most common reasons. And the bigger your storage is, the bigger your loss because of shrinkage and theft becomes. And the bigger your menu becomes, the bigger your shrinkage becomes. So to reduce this waste and this loss, especially at the beginning, you should really keep the menu small. Focus on 1, 2, or 3 items, maybe some variations, but keep it really small. Be radical and keep it small. It's better to offer 1 item and it's served perfectly than offering 20 items, 20 different meals, and they are all not eatable, terrible and bad quality, and customers won't like it and they will be disappointed and they won't come back. But if you serve this one, let's say burger, this one perfect burger with the perfect recipe, finger-licking recipe, the people will come, they will eat it, they will be amazed about this one burger, and they will tell all their friends and they will come back, and you will become much more efficient in producing this burger. Your staff will learn very fast. If you only have 1, 2, or 3 products, your whole operation will become profitable much faster. Okay, what did I write here? A big menu means a lot of different recipes and and preparation. Yeah, just think about it. If you have 10 recipes or 20 recipes for 20 different meals, you have to train your staff for 20 different meals. And what do you think how long it will take them to learn all 20 of them? It won't be that easy, especially in a time where it's difficult to become qualified staff. Probably you will have to train your staff for all the tasks. So starting out with a very small menu is a huge advantage. And if your staff can focus on only 1, 2, or 3 items, their efficiency will skyrocket. The more items you offer, the more you must train your staff, yes, already told. And it's much better to start with a very small menu and then to expand it slowly. So as soon as you start out with your restaurant, you can put on 1 further item on the menu. You can talk to your customers. What would you like to have? Would you like to have a further variation of this burger? Shall we put on chicken wings or whatever? And then you can put 1 further item, you can test it, you can ask them. If they don't like it, you put it away or you improve it, yes. And if they like it, yes, great, you have a second item on your menu that your customers love, that your employees know how to prepare it and how to handle it. And so you improve slowly, but you build on success and not on failure. Okay, let's get to point number 4, which is very close to the last point. It's create recipes with detailed preparation instructions. This is also a very important and simple task, and my tool here can help you with this. There is a sheet, it's called recipe and calculation, and there you can put in the yellow fields are input fields where you can create a recipe. For example, a burger here, and it's number 1, and you can put in the single ingredients: meat, bun, cheese, tomato, onions, whatever you need, and put in the quantity and the price. I do put in some numbers just out of my head, and the loss of shrinkage, and then you get, and that's that's very helpful. You get the true price, not because only of your purchasing prices, but also because of shrinkage and meat test. Then you have a true price you are calculating on, and you get a true COG. COG is a cost of goods sold. Okay, so let's keep on moving in our topic. Get clear about the cost of goods sold, the COGS, its preparation method and time and pricing. When you are serious about your recipe, you will also define how long it takes to prepare the recipe during the main service time. means when it's rush hour, lunch or dinner, and the customers order, and the orders come into the kitchen, hopefully your cooks will be prepared well. They have mise en place, as we call it in restaurant lingo. And if they're prepared well, they only have to finalize the meal, and they will be able to prepare a meal, a burger, within a few minutes. And if you define the recipe and the preparation steps exactly, then you know how long it takes on average to prepare a meal. And having this knowledge is super valuable because you can put this number here and you can use it to plan your personal needs, your personal requirements. You can put here in the kitchen time per meal, MST, main service time, kitchen time, means how long it takes on average to prepare a meal in the kitchen. And here, for example, we have 2.5 minutes, means the cook needs on average 2.5 minutes to prepare this burger during the main service time. He did all his mise en place, his preparations in advance, and during the rush hour, he just finalizes the burgers, and this takes about 2.5 minutes. And if you put in this number here, the system, the financial model, can calculate the workload and the workload and the utilization of the workforce. And because of this, then you see how much the workforce of the employees you are planning to employ, how much they are used, what's the utilization of cooks, how many cooks will you need to fulfill the business you are planning. This is super important, and as far as I know, this is the only tool that can accomplish this task. So let's come back. Next point. Number 5, design the customer experience. You really should have a clear picture about what the customer can experience in your restaurant. What will it be like arriving in your restaurant? How will they be greeted? Is it a self-service? Is it a full service? How will the menu be presented to them? How is the order taking going on? What about upselling programs? Upselling program is super important, and it can add a huge chunk of profit to your business. You can also use the tool under the pricing sheet to consider your upselling success. 15% upselling success is not too much. If you are serious about upselling, you can easily reach 20, 30, maybe even 50 or 100% increase in your sales just by executing upselling. And if you put in your number here, your assumption, let's say you reach 20%, then the system calculates the new profit and also the new sales and so on. So you can try different upselling scenarios and find out how it will impact your whole business. What about further customer experience points? It's payment process. So how will they pay? When will they pay? Will they pay in advance? Will they pay afterwards? You can design this. Then email collection, super important. Email is is after passers-by your most important and most profitable marketing measure. Loyalty program, this can be very tight connected to email marketing and such things. So customer experience should be designed in detail. So a ruler, number 6, set standards for your operation. What do you mean? For example, average cooking time, average service time, training and such things. You should set as many standards as possible. You should put in standards in quite any task you can imagine within your restaurant, because a restaurant business is like a huge machine with a lot of little tasks. And if you don't care about these little tasks, this machine won't run smoothly. You need to design every little task, and you won't need to explain every little task again and again and again and again for years and years and years, you won't become efficient. So you need to set the standards, and you need to communicate the standards to your employees, and you need to train to reach the standards. And cooking time and service time, we already mentioned it in the personal sheet here. We can take, for example, the service time, which means what's the service time is the question: how long does it take for a waiter to service a customer with a meal? So it begins from order taking to serving and ends with paying. And let's say on an average, this would take 3 minutes on pure work time for your waiters. Then you can do the same work time utilization for your waiters, and you can find out what's the best model for your restaurant. You can try a self-service, which needs much less time to service your customer, or you can try a full service, which probably gives you the opportunity to demand higher prices, but also need to put in much more effort in work time. So these numbers help you to find your very best and most profitable restaurant business. Okay, let's get to point number 7. We are talking about implementing, to implement email marketing. Email marketing, we already mentioned it here in the summary, as you see. Beside passers-by, email marketing is the most profitable marketing measure. And as this is the case, I give you a lot of assumption possibilities you can put in to define your email marketing. The opt-in rate, the messages you send per month, the cost for the email system per month, the cost for writing an email. Promotion on-premises means you can promote your on-premises business, or you can promote a takeaway business, and you can decide how much the share is for each one you're promoting. Then the email churn rate. You won't only get new subscribers to your email list, you will also lose some of them. So you also have to consider this. And if you already have a list size at the beginning, let's say you already have 300 emails, where you are allowed to promote your restaurant, then you can put this number also in here. And you will see in the output sheet from email how profitable your email marketing is, how many emails you are sending, how many customers you are winning. As you see, you are starting with 18 customers for on-premises in month 1, and it rises to 665 customers in month 12 for on-premises, and 443 customers for takeaway, and so on. So email marketing is super important, and you should consider this in your financial planning. Let's get to point number 8. Plan takeaway and delivery, even if you don't want to start it immediately. The passers-by contains several groups of customers you can nurture. Some want to come inside and enjoy your in-house services. Others are on the way and prefer takeaway. And others never come by your restaurant and may discover you on a delivery app like DoorDash or Uber Eats. This model gives you the possibility to also plan takeaway, and this is a huge advantage nowadays. It doesn't have to be a lockdown situation or something like that, but you also may want to consider offering delivery and takeaway, as people simply love it. And further, if you have a location with a high frequency of passers-by, anyway, you should consider to offer takeaway, because there are customers passing by and you are leaving money on the table. And if you offer takeaway, you can make extra sales and extra profits with one location. So if you are if you are using your your location only for on-premises business, okay, if you want this, it's fine. But think about it. You could easily set up a takeaway business and double or triple your sales. So it's up to you to use the whole traffic you already pay the rent for. And in my financial model, and I think it's the first model, at least I haven't seen one before yet on the whole internet, that gives you the possibility to also plan takeaway and delivery apps. You can put in your assumptions how many customers you are winning through, let's say, for example, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, or whatever. You can change these names wherever you want. Whatever is your most favorite one. Put in the name and put in your assumptions how many customers you will probably get through them. And also you can put in your assumptions about the conversion of passers-by to make more takeaway business. Okay, let's get to point number 9, raise enough capital. Many startups fail because they run out of money. This is really key. If you start a business, one of the most important points you always have to keep an eye on is your cash situation. If you run out of cash, you run out of business. It's really that super simple. And my model can help you with this. You can create a realistic investment plan. Here is the sheet, investment and depreciation. You can put in all your capital expenses. You can put it in also here in detail. I only put in equipment with $150,000 and a useful life, useful life of 7 years. So now let's say you want to plan it in detail. Of course, you plan the oven for the pizza with, I don't know, 8,000 and you use it 7 years, and the fridge and so on, 2,000, also 7, and so on. You can put all your needed equipment here, and then you have an overview of the equipment you need. You get a list of your total investment, your capital need, and the system calculates the total depreciation per year and per month. And the system, this financial model, also uses all this data within the income sheet, the cash flow sheet, the balance sheet, and so on. It's all interconnected. So you really should take care to raise enough capital. Put in all your costs is also an important measure. To avoid running out of money. You shouldn't be surprised by costs, and this sheet costs can help you with this. By the way, I think that's also a unique possibility to calculate and consider the credit card and debit card processing fees, and to get this cost position. You can put in all your numbers for utilities, fees and insurance, operating cost, leasing, maintenance, administration, and so on. And you should plan enough money for marketing, and you should also plan reserves for unexpected things. Marketing. I already mentioned here the marketing sheet. This financial model provides you 5 different marketing campaigns: email marketing, social media marketing, online search ads, flyer, and direct mail, the good old letter. So finally, we come to point number 10. And right, you should set up a financial model for your restaurant business. This is what we are talking about, and what I already showed you. A financial model is really super, super important. Restaurant business is a numbers business, and if you want to become successful in this numbers business, you need to get right your numbers. And you only get it right if you set up and prepare a financial model, if you build a solid business plan for your restaurant. A solid, or let's say in general, a financial plan can make or break your business. And if you seriously want to start a restaurant, you need a financial model for many reasons. You will have to raise capital from investors. And what do you think will the investors ask you? Show me your numbers. What do you plan? How many customers do you expect? What's your marketing? And you can say, hey, look, sure, here. These are my assumptions. This is my marketing assumption. This is my conversion assumption. These are the customers I'm expecting for on-premises, for takeaway, from my apps, and so on. So this is a detailed plan. This is not just, well, I think I could get 100 customers a day, and the investor or the bank probably for sure will ask you, how will you get the customer? And if you can show him these detailed assumptions, and if you can show him also how you come to these detailed numbers, it's much easier to get an investor on board and to get a loan from a bank with such a detailed and solid financial model and business plan. Yeah, to apply for a loan, for sure, the bank will ask you, show me your business plan, show me your financial model, show me how you're going to make a profit, all these things. To present your startup plan on the crowdfunding platform, this is a really great new alternative to finance your new restaurant. Just think about it, crowdfunding. In my book, by the way, Business Plan to Start a Restaurant, there is an example mentioned about a restaurant business in Germany that financed through crowdfunding. So this is possible for sure. To find out how much capital you need, yes, you can put in your financing assumptions here. I didn't mention it yet, financing. And you could put in here your cash you do have. Let's say you have $35,000. You put in the cash you have and you put in the loan you are looking for. Let's say $180,000. Yes, it's right. And you see then you have a total capital of 250,000. And you can also calculate the loan and the payment in detail. So you can find out, okay, let's say I get a loan for 7% interest rate and the term of the loan is 8 years. Then it calculates you the monthly payment. It gives you the monthly rate for the interest and the total interest you're going to pay. In this case, 53,745 over the period of 8 years. And you also see the detailed payment plan, the monthly payment, the interest. As you see, the interest becomes lower and lower and the principal becomes more and more you're paying, and the balance of the loan. And all this data is also used in your income. You see here the interest rate that is changing from month to month, and you see it in the balance, where you see the bank loan that is changing and becoming lower and lower because you are paying back the loan. By the way, this model calculates over the period of 3 years in monthly terms, means you can calculate 36 months in detail, and that's pretty sure more than enough. Then capital, yes, you need enough capital. It's better to plan in some extra cash than running out of money. And I can assure you, you will need this extra cash. Plan it. Plan the reserve. To get the numbers, you need the financial model to get the numbers that lead you to success. If you just open the restaurant and just, I think about $12 and for a meal and $3 for a beverage and so on, and there will be enough. No, that's not enough. You need a detailed plan. You need to know how many staff you need, how many staff you can afford, how many customers you need, how you get the customers you need, and all this in detail. And only if you're really sure about all these details of this financial plan, then you have a good chance to survive. And then you can, with such a financial model, you can try different scenarios. Let's say here, for an example, you will have 10,000 passers-by, and let's say, okay, we change it to 5,000. What would be the result? And now, please, before I enter, look here on this number, the net income for M1 to 12, which is now 124,000, and now we change it to 5,000 passers-by, and now it changes to a loss of 133,000. So as you see, if you don't know your numbers and if you get caught cold, surprised, yes, by wrong numbers or bad numbers, this can cost you a fortune. So you really should know your numbers very well, and you should calculate them, and you should know how much you need of passers-by, how much you need of marketing, which efforts you have to take, how many seats in your restaurant you should have. As you see here now, for example, we have 30 seats planned, and please have a look here on the right hand side. The O means occupancy of seats on premises. As you know, a restaurant only has a certain amount of seats and a certain maximum capacity you can serve, which means let's change this number, let's say to 10 seats, And now you see we have a 100% occupancy, which means the possible sales you can make has a ceiling. And this financial model I created here also considers this ceiling. So you can find out, for example, how many seats your restaurant should have to gain the best occupancy. So, okay, we leave it here with 20 seats. And then, for example, as you see, 20 seats would mean you have a maximum occupancy of 64%. Okay, discover the most profitable marketing. Yes, we already talked about it. You can change the assumptions for marketing, test different ways. Let's say you only send 10 emails. As you see, your profit just dropped about $20,000. You can change to promote on premises or takeaway or whatever. You can, and by testing and trying and calculating all in detail, you find the best way. It just takes a little bit of effort, and if you start with a ready to start financial model, you will find this perfect business plan you need. Plan the cost, discover the most profitable marketing. To get the free statements for income, cash flow, and balance, banks and investors want them, and they are a clear sign of a solid business plan. This, I think, is also very, very helpful and important. The free statements, they are the income statement, the cash flow statement, and the balance. And these free statements are what many call the free statements. And they show you the income, the cash flow, and the balance, and they are super important because they give you a great overview about profit, about sales, about financing, and all this. And people who think about giving you money, investors, banks, they want to have these statements to prove and to test your business model. Finally, one more thought. Just think about it. Alone in the US, there are more than 1 million restaurants. So to succeed, you need an edge. And don't waste thousands of dollars to a consultant to set up such a financial model, or if you want to build this model by yourself or a comparable model, it will take you at least a month or two. For me personally, and I'm experienced in working with Excel. I've been working with Excel for 20 years. I know the restaurant business for over 20 years. And I built this model working full-time for 1 month. So this was 1 month of hard time working. This is the minimum time you will need to set up this model. And if you're not that experienced, you will probably need more time, maybe 2 or 3 months. Don't waste your time with building a model. Better take a model that helps you and is ready to start. You can buy this model for only $290 and start planning your restaurant right now. If you think about the effort and the help it gives you, this is a bargain. Putting in your first assumptions into the yellow marked fields will take you about 1 hour. Yes, these are the yellow marked sheets. I already showed you there are 8 sheets, and each assumption field where you can put in your individual data is marked yellow, and so it's easy to detect them, and they are in 8 sheets. They are easy to find, and you have a good overview, and just put in your assumption and look at the profit and the other results, and putting in your first assumptions. If you do have a little bit an idea about your business, it will probably take you about an hour. Maybe you're faster, maybe a little bit slower, but within 1 hour you can have your first financial model to start plan in detail, to optimize and to test. And this is super valuable. Yes, and then as soon as you have a financial model, you can develop your perfect business plan to raise enough capital and to start your journey to success. So if you seriously think about starting a restaurant, don't wait, click on the link and get it now. I thank you so much for your attention. It was my pleasure to produce this video. I hope you liked this info. If you haven't done it right now, please subscribe to my channel. I'm intending to make more videos of this kind, and please give this video a like. Again, very much. Thank you very much for your patience, even also for my bad English. Anyway, it was a pleasure for me. I hope to see you soon in this channel again. Bye bye. Cheers.